Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new update video on the channel today. Talking through the news that we've seen over the weekend in regards to players potentially coming in, potential sales. But of course, we'll get into all the action, giving my thoughts and the latest news. As of today, we play Chelsea later on tonight. But I thought because there's been so much going on over the weekend, I'll give you sort of a lunchtime update. And of course, as there's more news this week, I'll keep you guys updated as well. But the big one this weekend, we've seen Manu Silva of Vitória come very close to joining Wolves, but unfortunately, he will not be signing for the club. Now, I've not really spoken about this one at all on the channel because it sort of broke, I think, Friday evening, late Friday. Of course, the preview and stuff was out on Saturday and not really had a chance to talk about it yet. But before I've had a chance to talk about it, then the news is completely broken down. Now, it was an exclusive by Fabrizio Romano that Manu Silva of Vitória was a player of interest for Wolves and talks were ongoing. It was very quickly picked up by sources in Portugal. Pretty much every outlet in Portugal over the weekend was reporting on this, and all the news indicated that Manu was going to become a Wolverhampton Wanderers player. The player was left out of the Vitória squad on Saturday evening, and then once again Sunday morning in the paper, all the big Portuguese papers I can think of, Arbola, O Jogo, Record, all of them really were saying that this was going to be happening. The talks were advancing, and it was really a matter of time before we were going to get an official announcement. However, we saw the news break late last night, about 10:30, from Fabrizio Romano once again, that the move is off and the player is going to be heading to Benfica. Now, there were always whispers over the weekend, maybe not from such reputable accounts, that Benfica were always in the race for the player. But no one of sort of a top tier source, and especially when all the big outlets in Portugal are reporting that the player is going to Wolves, you don't really think anything about it. But Benfica have come in. The offers that Wolves and Benfica had given were very, very similar to each other. I think Wolves had maybe offered a couple of million less on the initial fee, according to some sources. But in terms of personal terms, they were agreed with the player. Wolverhampton Wanderers had a deal agreed in principle with the club, with Vitória and with the player, according to Liam Keane. But ultimately, he's chosen to go with Benfica, who, of course, are one of the biggest teams in Portugal. They are still in the Champions League. It's a massive move for a player, a younger player in Portugal right now. It was believed that Manu, if he was going to sign, although he has played in defence previously, he was going to be there as a midfielder. Of course, Vitor Pereira has talked about wanting a little bit more energy and athleticism in the midfield, which Manu would have brought. He's had a fantastic start to the season in Portugal, so this is a little bit frustrating. But like I said, the Wolves had a deal agreed with Vitória for around 12 million, plus 2 million with a 20% sell-on. But unfortunately, the player has now chosen to go to Benfica. So that is one missed out for Wolves. Of course, people are going to be frustrated by this and vent that anger towards the club. Of course they are. But ultimately, Wolves had this deal agreed. It's frustrating that the player has gone elsewhere. And ultimately now they need to move on to new targets. But very easy to judge the transfer window right now. Wolves do tend to do business a little bit later in the window. We've got 10 days left. Let's see. Because ultimately they do need to get reinforcements in. We saw the last time we were in a pickle under Julian Lopetegui. Fosun all of a sudden found a hell of a lot of cash to help us. At the moment, it just doesn't look like that is the case. So really need to see how seriously they want to take this relegation battle and see if they back the recruitment team for the last week or so of the transfer window. About 12 or 13 days left at the moment, so still time to bring players in. But it'll be interesting to see what Wolves get done and how quick we do see more targets emerge. But Manu Silva will not be joining Wolverhampton Wanderers this month. We had some more news from Fabrizio Romano yesterday, actually, in regards to Matheus Cunha. Now, of course, it's been heavily reported this month that Wolves want to tie Matheus down to a brand new contract. It seemed imminent. The announcement seemed imminent, and it sounded like it was confirmed. And then there was a few sources suggesting maybe otherwise. But Fabrizio said once again that Wolves want to tie him down to a new deal. However, there are still a few final details to clarify before that deal can get signed. I was a little bit concerned when I saw this news, mainly because once again, at the end of Fabrizio's post, he mentioned that Arsenal and other clubs are monitoring the situation. I just feel like this is almost agent-led. I just cannot see Wolves, for one, there'll be another player that I'll talk about in a minute. For one, Wolves will not sell. Unless it is an astronomical offer, Wolves will not sell this window. But I am a bit concerned that Fabrizio is a top-tier journalist, but I do feel a lot of his news, it's come fueled by agents. And his agent is obviously trying to get more money from Wolves, more leverage on a certain part of the contract, or is touting Matheus to other clubs. So it's a little bit of a concern that post came out. But certainly, I just hope... I feel the contract, it's just going to defend the club a little bit in regards to the transfer next summer. Because I think the main reason about this contract is release clauses. It's going to cover Wolves if we go down, and it will probably cover Wolves when big clubs come knocking, saying this is the minimum price Matheus is worth and you've got to pay it if you want him. So it's a little bit of a concern that this news is still going on and the contract isn't signed, but we'll wait and see over the next week or so if something does happen. But in regards to Matheus leaving, I just cannot see it happening before the end of the January transfer window. The other player that was alluding to is Ryan Ait-Nouri, and again, another player that has been linked with a move away, and Manchester United reportedly looking at him to bolster their left-hand side. Again, I just can't see anything in this, to be honest. We see this window after window with Ryan. He's such an attractive player to watch sometimes on the ball. Had a little bit of a strange season, maybe a little bit inconsistent is maybe the fairest word I can use for Ryan. But when you're a big club and you watch him, he's got the quality that he could definitely play for a bigger side. Manchester United aren't the most attractive of proposals right now, but I just can't see this one happening. I've seen this morning they're looking at other targets as well. So Ryan to Manchester United for me right now is something that I'm not concerned about particularly. There will be people again questioning. There is a sell-on fee for Angers, his former club, but I believe Wolves can buy that out for a certain fee. I think it's about just under £10 million for argument's sake. So you've just got to bear that in mind. But it's not as big. Say for argument's sake, we sold him for 50 million. Angers, I'm going to get 25. They'll only get the 10. So that's something Wolves can buy out, I believe. And to finish this off as well, Owen Farmer, a young player who's been playing for the 21s predominantly, had been part of a few pre-season camps as well. I think he scored in one of the pre-season games. Maybe not last summer, the summer before. He has moved on a permanent basis. He's joined Leamington FC. So best of luck to him in his next move. But that is all for today, guys. A very quick update from me. It's been fairly quiet since sort of Thursday, Friday, to be honest, on the transfer front. But hopefully we do see some more news, more positive news about incomings all being well. And fingers crossed we see the Wolves grab 3 points tonight. I'm literally about to leave to go to Chelsea. So I'll be back later on with my match report all being well outside of Stamford Bridge. But yeah, look after yourselves, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch you on the next one.